Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and today we're going to take a look at some ABRO Steel. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so in today's video we're going to be taking a look at what is essentially a two-part epoxy. This is actually a kind of steel reinforced epoxy for mending all kinds of things around the home, broken plastics, metals, wooden stuff, whatever it is. The good thing about this is it sticks, or it's pretty much solid in about 2 minutes and is fully cured in about an hour's time. Also can be used underwater. Bizarrely, I'm not sure how it works. You can use it to repair all kinds of things, petrol tanks, water pipes, cisterns, you name it. But today, essentially what we're going to be doing is repairing this mic stand. Now, some of you may remember the video we did on this a little while back, which you can see up here, which was using the JB plastic weld, which actually did a pretty good job. But yeah, wasn't quite up to the rigors of what this demanded. So this demands a little bit of a more hardcore approach. Now, unfortunately, this section is hardened plastic, as is that. Not metal, so I can't really use a weld or anything like that, so it has to be some kind of chemical bond. So this was actually came into a shop local to me, highly recommended. Pretty good reason why I recommended that, but we won't go into that right now. But essentially you can pick this up for about £4, and this is a 57 gram pack and is a putty. Let's just take it out, you can see what it's like. It's in a resealable container. And there you go, there's the putty itself. So essentially what you need to do is to basically twist off the amount you need, or get a knife and just trim off some, knead it into a putty until the two parts are completely mixed together, so it's got an even consistency all the way through. And then essentially you can just mold it to the shape of your repair. So in this case, what I'm going to try and do is to try and make this go back together somehow. Now there is a gap in the middle, which you can probably see from some of the B-roll that I've done. And hopefully if we fill enough of this in, we should be able to get a pretty good bond, although it doesn't really fit particularly well anymore. But anyway, we'll see what happens. So that's enough blithering on about that, although it would be really good to see if this actually works, because if it's strong enough to hold that, which the JB build was okay, but not brilliant. But again, that is quite a stress fracture area there. It is got a lot of potential to damage itself. So hopefully with a bit more putty around there, a bit more packing on it, we can do a really nice job. So quickly, just looking through, so on the ABRO Steel instructions, got various things on there. So it says for best results and best adhesion, clean and roughen the bond area prior to application, twist off the desired amount, need to form a uniform color, to keep hands clean, moisten hands with water prior to needling or kneading. Repairs should be done in place before hardening begins, usually within 2 minutes. So basically, when you kind of got it in your finished position, make sure you do that within the first 2 minutes of doing it, because that is essentially what it's going to set like. It can be drilled, filed, tapped, machined, etc. after about 1 hour. So that's a pretty quick curing time. For smooth surfaces, hand rub with tap water and use a damp tool or cloth prior to the hardening. So what they're saying there is, like with most fillers, if you get a filler and you've got like a sort of rough spot on there, what you can do is you can get your hands wet or just get a little bit of water and you can basically smooth it off like you would with maybe a silicone joint, that kind of thing. So that's enough rabbiting on. Let's see what this is actually like. So we've got some cardboard to work on here, just in case we get anything on the desk. We don't want anything staining the desk. This is just basically an old Jaffa Cakes box. Obviously other cakes are available. And what we're going to do is open up this packaging, or maybe we just cut it off actually. Looks like that's quite a nice way of storing it. So I'm going to grab a knife. And just cut off a chunk off the end. Not too sure how much we need, but essentially being this is only about £4, it's not overly expensive. And too much is better than too little. And after cutting it in half, you can see that in the middle, hopefully, if that focuses, it may or may not. But essentially you can see it is, there's like an inner core and an outer core. So you just basically mix that together until it goes to the right color. Now you get two versions of this. There is a black and a white version, which we'll take a look at on the website shortly. But yeah, so if you've got jobs that need a kind of white finish, then you can use the white version. Anyway, there is that. So we're going to put the bit we're not using, put that away before we start kneading. Otherwise there's something else we have to do after. Try and keep the workspace nice and clean if we can. Apparently if you don't mix it together, this can be stored pretty much indefinitely, but obviously I can't test that, so maybe we'll drop back in on this video a little bit later. And let's get rid of some of this plastic around the outside here. I'm actually really interested to see how this does. My thoughts are that it's going to be rubbish. Being slightly pessimistic. Not that I'm willing the universe to make it not work, but yeah, I've not got high hopes. I've got a little bowl of water here, so just get a little bit of moisture on my fingers before I do it, so it doesn't stain or anything, which I guess it's supposed to do. And all we need to do is just knead it into, well, basically mix it up together. It's definitely got a little bit of a smell to it, so do bear that in mind. It is basically a chemical reaction. Yeah, it's got that definite epoxy kind of smell to it. Probably made a bit too much here, but again, until you've actually used it, you don't really know. I think that's a pretty uniform colour there. Hopefully that's you can pick that up on the camera. And that was actually quite easy to do. I was quite impressed by that. I thought it was going to be a little bit more difficult. Now it's starting to get tacky on my fingers already, so probably a good time now to get this done. So that has got to be about there. So my theory is if I just splodge some on there, and a little bit around the sides. Again, you can be really kind of messy with this because it does come off after, or at least you can file it or sand it or whatever the case may be. Now I'm going to try and keep that in an upright position. That needs a little bit more on the sides, I think. And actually I'll try and fill that entire back section, I think, with putty, so it can all harden off together. At least that's the theory. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect looking, because you can sand it and it can be machined, etc. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to work at all. Might have to actually build that up a little bit after. I've got a little bit of overspill on there, so get rid of that. And yeah, that is quite wobbly. Smooth it off a little bit. Okay, I think that is probably just about there. So unfortunately we have to wait about an hour now to see how that works out, so I'm going to just extend those legs there and we can let that rest for a little bit. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, actually you can feel the heat coming through this already, so there is actually a reaction happening. Shame I haven't got something else to stick actually, that would be quite interesting to do. I think what I'll do is I'm just going to make it like a coin shape, and then when this is done in about an hour's time, see what it's like and see if it actually, we can bend it or snap it or whatever. So that's quite thin, as you can see there. So I'm just going to leave that there. I'll do a slightly smaller one as well, just to see what the limits of this actually are. Whether if you're going to use it for some kind of bridging compounds or whatever the case may be. But anyway, we'll leave those there. And the time is now 8:15 in the evening. So we'll come back to this round about 9:15 and we'll see what it's like. So we'll see you then. Okay, so it is approximately an hour and a quarter later. So it's currently around about 26 minutes past 9. And we've let this settle for, yeah, about an hour and a quarter, give or take. So let's see what it's like. So first of all, our kind of slightly molded coin shape, which actually does have a little bit of flex in it, but almost like an elastic-like quality, and it is very, very solid. We could easily drill that out now or sand it, whatever. So yeah, looking pretty good so far. And as you can actually see, the colour is kind of like a grey-black colour, so charcoal almost. But the real test is our actual mic stand. So previously, this mic stand, the reason why it broke is because of moving it around from various positions. There's a lot of stress on this area here, and we've got plenty of goo around there, so this steel hardened stuff seems to have set, and just feeling it does feel pretty solid, so just make sure that's loosened off a little bit so it will actually move relatively freely. And yeah, there's a little bit of resistance there because obviously it is on a kind of like a thread, but being quite rough with it, absolutely fine. So let's put the microphone back into position. And again, I'm deliberately being a little bit heavy-handed with this. I've actually probably put a little bit too much of the putty in there, so it doesn't actually sit particularly flush in there. So what I actually might do is turn it around the other way. So flip it around onto that side, put the cable down through. It isn't threaded, so it shouldn't make too much difference. Again, we can always sand this down, so that's going to sit in there relatively nicely. And put the metal collar back on. Again, not being overly gentle with this. Get that to tighten up. So there, that's in position now. And even again with that mic on there, the extra stress that is put on that joint is absolutely solid. I'll tighten up a little bit, and there doesn't seem to be much movement in the tip. That's actually tightened up fully now. There's a little bit of flex in it actually in the plastic itself, but the joint seems to be absolutely perfect. So I think we can definitely chalk that up as something of a result, and I can now use my mic stand as it was intended. So happy days. So that is the ABRO Steel. So have a quick look on the Amazon listing just to go through some of the features, just so if you haven't taken all in what it can and can't do. So this is the ABRO Steel. Again, price wise, normally somewhere around about £8, £7 mark for a 57 gram tube. And looking down through, so we've got the product description. But some of the main things, so it can withstand high temperatures. It does say in here somewhere about it's resistant to things like oils, waters, different kinds of substrates. Also, it can be milled, sawn, ground, tapped, sanded, painted, lacquered once it's been cured. ABRO Steel has countless uses. So it can be used to repair leaks, breaks, cracks, holes in cars, bikes, lorries, caravans, boats, mowers, engines, batteries, exhausts, fuel tanks, machinery, cookers, radiators, pipes, ponds, tanks, baths, sinks, tiles, furniture and tools. And mic stands if you really wanted to. So yeah, definitely I think this is a fantastic multi-purpose kind of adhesive come repair tool. Definitely something you should have either in your toolbox or maybe in your kitchen drawer. So this has been the ABRO Steel. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.